Alright, as promised, I am going to create a series of videos about the 2019 HSC paper. We've already done questions 1 to 5, the multiple choice, but I'm moving on to the short answer questions 21, 22, 23 and 24 because I think that this is a better way of getting an insight into the exam. So let's start with the paper. So we've done the model choice, and now we're moving on to section 2, which is questions 21 to 24, and we were expected to allow about an hour and 10 minutes or so to do this. Sometimes it takes longer, sometimes it's shorter. Just a little bit of information. I would say that 21 to 24 they go progressively harder, and quite often question 24, when you see the YouTube video about question 24, you'll see that it is a more difficult question. Now, it also says here, answer each question in the appropriate writing booklet. What they used to do is just have a booklet, and you would have to label that booklet for each question. I recommend that you use a booklet for each question. So a booklet for question 21, which will have A, B, C, D, E, or whatever, and a booklet for 22, 23, and so on. You get the idea. Now, let's look at the question. Question 21 is worth 9 marks, and you'll see that there are 4 questions. Yeah, 4 questions, and each of them I'm going to break up individually. So question A, obviously there's a scenario which talks about a government is developing an electronic driver's license system to replace its current plastic system. Several urban and rural locations have been selected to trial. The new system will allow drivers to retrieve and update and do all these. You need to read this really carefully, because this is what I was talking about, how you answer a HSC question. This is the context. So the context is about the government developing an electronic driver's license system to replace its current plastic license, okay? And then it's going to be trialled and then a country-wide rollout. So when implementing a system, you can already start to get into the mode of thinking about them asking you questions about what system development approach would be the best, or what way would they develop it. So looking at the first question, it says the diagram shows a portion of the Gantt chart for this project. Now remember, a Gantt chart has the tasks and it has the dates that are required for you to complete a task. And you'll notice here, if you just look at this, you can see there's nothing happening, and then it's blacked out here and it says planned time, and then it's grayed here and it says actual time. And each column is 1 week. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and a little triangle here that says this is a project milestone. One thing that I really would like you to see also is this number 2. It's worth 2 marks, this question. So we're not spending a lot of time on it, and it's not going to be a difficult verb to answer. Okay, so the question says, describe the progress of testing the system task. So I'm just going to pause this video because I'm going to get another link up that I can show you. Alright, so I've got a couple of links open now. I'm just going to show you. So the first thing is that it says describe, which is our verb, the progress of the testing the system task. Now this is the testing the system task, and we've got to describe the process of what's going on here. And you can see that already the planned time was, they gave it 6 weeks. The actual time only took 4 weeks, but you can see that it started late and it finished after the actual planned time. So we need to describe that. Now, if I just open this, now this isn't a plug for me or anything, but I did make a video that had the HSC glossary of key terms explained, but it had a link here for where you find those keywords, and also on the NESA website. So if we go down here, we can find the word describe, and it says provide characteristics and features. So the characteristics and features of this question is to be describing what is happening here, which would be that the planned time was allocated 6 weeks. It only took 4 weeks. It started 3 weeks late and finished 1 week later than the actual time. So that would be that. Now, if we look at the marking guide for this question, this is the marking guide for question 21A. It says to get 2 marks, you have to describe the task progress at the time. So you're making sure that you talk about the task, the context, and also you're describing what's going on. So they say in here, for example, the project team started 3 weeks late. It took 4 weeks instead of the planned 6 weeks. They did not reach the project milestone on time. They saved time and the task was behind the schedule by 1 week. If you only identify, and if we go back to that link, if we only identify, we only just recognize a name. So what would that look like? It would mean that when we started to, we'd say things like it's a Gantt chart, it's has dates, or it has weeks. We're not actually describing what's going on here. So that's what identify would be, and then you would only get the 1 mark. So that's how you would approach answering question A. And it does talk about the context, which is testing the system task in this part, but it doesn't necessarily talk too much about the context in as much as it's making sure that you can describe the Gantt chart and what's happening in the Gantt chart. Now that's because the question's really asking you, do you know what a Gantt chart is and can you answer it? So that's, I hope, a bit of help on how to answer question 21A.